Hello, and welcome to Lorien Live. Thank you so much for joining today. Our normal session at 12:30 Pacific on Thursdays was preempted for a really special event that we had earlier today that was a Unlocking Cybersecurity, a Lockheed Martin career showcase. So I wanted to share the highlights with you. I'm going to play some of the meaty information, great subject, very inspiring opportunities in the cyberspace. So please enjoy, and we'll see you back here next Thursday at 12:30 for our regular scheduled time. Welcome to our very special Unlocking Cybersecurity Potential, a Lockheed Martin Career Showcase. Whether you're signing in from LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, thank you for joining. Our session is sponsored by the STEM Council for Good. And the STEM Council for Good is a organization. We partner with diverse nonprofit organization and STEM companies, and it's to create pathways for anyone who is interested in STEM careers. And it is part of the Impellum Group's commitment to ED&I. We have just an incredible panel of experts today. First, we have Danny Cohen. Danny is a STEM staffing expert. He has 20 years of experience and all across the world in the UK, Europe, North America, and currently is the head of STEM North America for the Impellum Group. Danny oversees the divisions for Lorien, SRG, Bartech. He is passionate about diversity and equity and inclusion in the STEM industry. He is part of the 50/50 Women on Boards in the Austin Committee and the San Diego Tech Hub. And he is the founder of the STEM Council for Good, which provides pathways, as we spoke about. I am actually going to have Haley Baston join us now. Haley is part of the Lorien team, and she has a genuine passion for our topic today. This is something that she has really chosen to specialize in. She is a cybersecurity recruitment expert. Really excited to introduce Peter Bagley. And Peter is a cybersecurity expert, and he has over 21 years of experience in the field. Peter has a huge background from his career in the Army, where he worked in various positions, including network administrator, system administrator, and information security officer. He worked after the Army as a senior cybersecurity engineer for several large government agencies and as a cybersecurity professor at the University of Phoenix and St. Petersburg College. He is passionate about educating the next generation of cybersecurity professionals and is actively involved in the cybersecurity community. We're really excited to have Tish from Lockheed Martin joining us. We'll bring her on and introduce her as soon as she's able to join.
Welcome to all our panelists to come and our audience members. So we're here to talk about Lockheed Martin and cybersecurity opportunities. And in addition to open discussions about the challenges, trends, career growth, recruitment strategies, and far more. So let's get right into it. All right. Well, as I mentioned, I was very honored to be here. And I'm going to start with a question around essential skills and qualifications that lead to success in cybersecurity. And how can professionals stay ahead of the curve? So let's start with you, Peter, as an expert trainer and thought leader in the industry.
Thank you again for inviting me to this event. But a lot of people nowadays seem to be shifting career paths due to downsizing. They may be capped out in some of the things they're in. So the cyber field is really expanding, but right now there's about 44 million jobs still available in cyber. They don't have enough people to fill it. So,
and we have Tish join the room in her call. Hey, Tish, how you doing?
Yes, how's it going, Danny? It's those cybersecurity filters that didn't allow me to get in.
You know what? It shows the Lockheed is tight. And if you're in and if you're out, you're definitely out. So it's lovely to have you here. It sounds like you're in a helicopter, but I know you're in your car.
Yeah.
would you like to just do a little bit of an introduction to you? And then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay, straight away from the bat.
Sure, sounds great, Danny. I'm Tish Rourke. I'm the Vice President for Cyber and Intelligence for Lockheed Martin. I've been doing this job for a little over 2.5 years. I've been working for Lockheed Martin for over 35 years. So great experience, great company,
Wow.
and just it's amazing being part of this cybersecurity field.
And I just want to say thank you for joining us. So let's go straight into it. So what cybersecurity roles are currently for you in high demand, and why are they crucial in today's landscape for Lockheed Martin?
Will say, Danny, that cybersecurity is, or people realize it or not, cybersecurity is a part of everything we do. As soon as you touch the internet, as soon as you reach out into the world, power grid, our banking system, cybersecurity is everywhere. And it's behind the scenes, so people don't think about it. But, from a Lockheed Martin perspective, the crucial needs that are in high demand are things like software engineers, ISOs, an information system security officer, an ISI, an information system security engineer, systems engineers, and then just general cybersecurity systems engineers. So those are probably the key roles.
Why do you find that they're so crucial in today's landscape?
Part of everything we do, just crucial in protecting our security, protecting just our everyday life. So just making sure that things go flawlessly. You look at things like self-driving cars, you know what I'm saying? And think about it. If something happened where your car got hacked, how easily you could get into an accident, or just simple things like that. Using those simple examples gives people a better perspective of why it's crucial.
Yeah, I love it. And we know that Lockheed has got it locked down over there in terms of security, so much so that you had to jump into your car outside the building. I love it. And by the way, people are asking how they can connect with you. And I know it's Letitia Rourke on LinkedIn. So if you find yourself getting loads of invites, including me, you're going to get peppered with that too. So I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. Can you tell us how many of these type of roles Lockheed Martin is currently looking to fill?
Sure. Just within my organization, Danny, we have over 100 open positions related to cybersecurity and intelligence that require the skill sets that I just talked about. But within Lockheed Martin as a whole, we have over 1,000 open positions that require cybersecurity skills. And then I think about that just in the macro view. If a company like Lockheed Martin has over 1,000 open positions, you look at the macro view and there's millions of open positions around the world in cybersecurity. So from a STEM perspective, I'll put my plug in here for young students who are thinking about what they want to do next. Getting involved early in things like code quests and cyber quests and learning how to program and learning a software language is just a skill that is needed every day now. So for those young students who are thinking about what they want to do, I highly encourage them to get into STEM, to get involved in cyber, to get involved in coding.
I love it. And I'm just going to pivot on this with Haley and Peter in the room as well, because from a recruitment and a cyber expert point of view, what are the sort of jobs you're seeing within this area that you're seeing are the trend, the growth, the demand within the security space?
So the main topic right now would be GRC. So compliance, risk, and audit, especially in the big banking firms. But like I said, security runs everything that we do. So if our data is at threat to be compromised, then, everything can shut down from there. So if you're looking for a specialty in a niche, I would definitely say GRC would be a fantastic route to go. But like I said earlier, general security engineers, really takes getting into that company and understanding what it is they're looking for in a security engineer. But that's never a bad route to go either, because if you start general, then you can find a niche as you work through different things and you identify those things that you're naturally good at and you want to sharpen.
Yeah, and I would chime in from a cloud perspective, because everyone everywhere now is cloud, and data in the cloud needs to be secured as well. So if you want to get into cloud security is a big area, and it's not going away. It's only growing by the day, because organizations run what we call on-prem, meaning they have systems on-premise, and they also have systems in the cloud. It's kind of like a hybrid. And they need people to be able to manage that data and make sure it's secure. The other side, going back to GRC that she was talking about, related to that cloud subject, you have to be able to audit that cloud provider to make sure they're following all the governance and rules that you have to follow as a company. Because someone who's a customer, they're not hiring the cloud guy, they're hiring you as a bank, for example. So it's your responsibility to do due diligence for them. So that's one area. And two other areas real quick is DevOps is another one, because that's where the coding comes in at Python, Ruby, some of the other scripting languages that are out there, because that's, again, things that need to be secured as well, because coding has been around a long time. We started in this industry, hate to quote my age, but back in 88 as a COBOL programmer, just kind of give you an idea.
COBOL, okay. One of my
Right.
first ever jobs I ever got years ago. Wow. I shouldn't have said wow. It's rude and offensive.
But it's been around for a
Guys,
while. And the
great.
problem is, it's been insecure for a long time. And now, because of people like me, hackers, that can hack into that code, we can do some damage with it. And lastly is analysts. You got a lot of organizations that have a huge security operations center. It's called SOC. And you need someone to analyze the threat feeds that are coming in to see, are you in a good defensive posture in case something happens, or you need to do something to be ready. So those are some of the type of things that are also out there high, and they're not going away at all.
Yeah, I love it. As mentioned at the very beginning, we talked about the Impellum Group launched the STEM Council for Good to kind of ensure that we work with every community, create pathways for everyone who wants to work in STEM, from the underserved to underrepresented. Please take a moment. We sent the scan out of the QR code to learn more, but I'm also eager to hear from our panelists about resources and learning opportunities that have helped you in your career paths. I'm coming back to you.
Okay.
Can you recommend any books, podcasts, magazines, tools, or resources for our audience to continue learning about cybersecurity?
You know, the thing I'll say is I encourage everyone to just look at the media. Every day there is a new article on cybersecurity. I was just reading an article yesterday about telling you not to plug in your cell phones at hotels, an alert from the FBI not to plug in your charge your phones at hotels and airports, because
I wish you had told me that yesterday. I'm staying in a hotel in Atlanta.
there's an article like that every day. See just the broad breadth of issues and concerns. We all heard about the Colonial Pipeline hack. We heard about the power grid going out in Texas. Things like that are everyday occurrences, and they give you an idea of the breadth of the issues and demands of a cybersecurity professional.
Yeah, I love that. And Peter, we'd love to hear some of your recommendations if possible.
Go
ahead.
No, go ahead, Peter.
There's so many different areas. I mean, from physical books themselves or electronic books, you have Kevin Mitnick, who is one of the biggest hackers that ever came out of the United States. He has a book called The Art of Deception that's been around for a long time, but a really good read. There's several others from that side. On the online, more or less magazine perspective of things, or periodicals, you have Dark Reading, which is a great source. They kept that updated all the time, relating to things like Trish just spoke about. Leaping Computers is another. And I know these names are pretty crazy, but they are pretty good sources. Lastly, like Cyber News is another great one. And the other thing you can do as well, and I get them all the time, you can get weekly newsletters or daily newsletters from organizations about current things that are going on. Like SANS is a phenomenal organization relating to cybersecurity. They put out all the information from weekly updates to daily updates. And a lot of things that she's talking about and others are pretty much written in there, and they kind of give you a link to go to the actual article to learn more about it. Another great source. Podcasts, you got Security Now, you have the Cyberwire, you have Darknet Diaries. So there's a list there. And then as far as the tools go, which for the person who's actually trying to learn this stuff, there's great tools. And two of the best tools that I know of is their operating system, Kali Linux, because it has a whole slew of cyber tools. And so does Parrot. It has a slew of cyber tools. They're kind of competitive, but they pretty much offer a lot of the same things. They have Metasploit in it, they have Wireshark, all these tools that you need to do learning that we keep talking about. But you also need a platform. So I would highly recommend, if someone's never used VirtualBox, it's free. It's from Oracle. Download VirtualBox, put it on your machine. Then you can pull down Kali Linux's operating system and as a virtual machine. Pull down a Windows 11 box, 198 rather eval version, put that on the box. Now you have a playground to play with. That's where you can get your hands-on experience. And then all the things you've been reading, learning about, you can actually actively do.
Wow, that was a long list. And I hope we recorded this, or I hope we had to translate the script there because we have. So I've got someone in the room going, yes, Danny, it's all good. Because there was some plethora of great resources there. And if people just spend a bit of time focusing on that, they'll learn and take away so much knowledge. Peter, thank you so much for that. Tish, thank you so much for that. Haley, what about you? What are your favorites?
Yes, so I love what Peter just said because actually there's a couple of things on my list that he already said. So I really want to be able to emphasize those things. So these are podcasts and books that I have gathered from candidates who have recommended what has helped them grow in their career because I work with a lot of senior candidates, right? So Security Now by Steve Gibson is a great podcast. The Darknet Diaries by Jack Reisiter, Smashing Security by Graham Cluley and Carol Therault, and then Risky Business by Patrick Gray and Adrian Buelow. And then a couple books I've heard Kevin Mitnick was top 2. He has 2 books out, The Art of Invisibility and The Ghost and the Wires, I heard are phenomenal books. And then there was another one that was kind of technical that candidates have recommended that helped them along their career with Threat Modeling, which is Designing for Security by Adam Shostak. And then actually, I want to be able to plug the B-Sides Tampa Tech conference as well, because I got to meet a lot of vendors who were providing those different resources and tools from their company that are allowing entry-level candidates to kind of get that technical experience. A lot of coders, they use projects on GitHub and different things, what we do in security. There was one company, I can't remember the name of it, but they actually let you work in a SOC. They had a QR code. I actually have it that I can send and we can put it out as a resource as well. But if you're interested in working in a SOC, they have to where you can actually go in and build one and basically like online do it. And it gives you that hands-on experience so that then you can maybe list that as a project on your resume when trying to break in somewhere. So there are so many different resources out here. There is no lack of information, no lack of resources. It's really getting plugged to the right people who can direct you to those resources so that you can be successful in your career.
Danny, one more
I
piece
love
can I
this.
add to what Haley said? Very big. On your resume, people want to know, do you have hands-on experience? They're not asking you, did you work in a big corporation to get those hands-on experiences? If you set up one of the labs for what I just told you, and you're actually in there working through projects and dealing with different operating systems, things like that, you have hands-on experience. Maybe not to the level that they are, but you're not starting from scratch. And that is a viable statement now to put on your resume. I understand how to use Metasploit, for example, because you've used it.
Yeah.
So you got to count out the box a little bit and don't think just because it says so much, you don't meet any of those requirements.
Yeah, I love it. And just following on from this, thank you so much, firstly, for all of that. And what I love the most is the passion that comes from each and every one of you talking about the tools that you have available to you that you've obviously utilized, and you're giving recommendations to people that should help them so much, or give them the kind of cheat code of how to learn quickly about all this amazing stuff that's out there. And Tish, I'd like to ask you a question. So if someone was interested in pivoting into the cybersecurity space, what programs and learning opportunities would you recommend?
Sure. I'm going to follow up a little bit with what Peter was saying relative to hands-on experience. Go work in a lab, go code something. But, I can't take that step back and say, what does engineering teach you? Engineering teaches you how to solve hard problems. And from that, go and be a cybersecurity engineer. But what I'll also put a plug for, talk about getting an engineering degree. I was just talking to a Lockheed Martin employee recently who actually had this non-traditional career where had a degree in life science type background and ended up going and getting a cybersecurity certificate degree and really thrived in industry and got a job in Lockheed Martin where actually utilizing that cybersecurity certificate. And now she's actually getting her master's degree in cybersecurity. So many different paths to get to this cybersecurity jobs, having the ability to solve hard problems with limited resources, solving complex problems in a team. So being able to work individually and work in a team. And now we've got the challenge of how do we work not all in the same workplace where we're working virtually. So
Yes.
being able to work in a team where you're independent, not working right next to each other. So all of those skills play into being a cybersecurity professional.
I love that. I love that. And it's funny, even the soft skills are not really soft anymore. They're quite hard to find. And it's so important to collaborate no matter where you are. Even if you're in a car doing a panel, then we've got to do what we've got to do. Thank you, Tish. Thank you so much for that. Peter, would you like to add anything here?
One of the things I'd like to add is a lot of people think to learn and get training, you have to have money. And most students don't have money. So, and using them as an example, there's so many free resources. LinkedIn Learning, for example, free resource. Believe it or not, YouTube has some really good full courses out there on Python, on Kali Linux, on other things that you may want to learn, ethical hacking, and they're full courses. So you really just have to maybe buy a book, get some of the virtual things I've been talking about, and watch a YouTube video, and your knowledge will grow overnight just from something like that. It didn't cost a lot of money. So you got to look into those free resources until you can get to a company maybe that's willing to help put you into a boot camp or something that you can get a little bit more knowledge in to get that certification, if that's what you need to get into that position. But you have to really look at all the tools that are out there, and there's so.
I love it. We have about 10 minutes left. So I've got a few questions that I'd like to, we're not in speed rushing like talking, but there's quite a few that I'd really want to get through. So I'm always excited to learn how organizations are doing more from a diversity, equity, and inclusion point of view and perspective. Tish, I'm going to ask you the question around companies like Lockheed Martin champion women, and how do they, and underrepresented groups in cybersecurity, and what impact does that have on the industry? Because the stat is 23% in America right now for women in engineering roles. And it's amazing to see you, Tish, in a leadership role at Lockheed Martin, leading the way. But I'd love to know what Lockheed Martin are doing more for women and underrepresented.
We haven't done as well as we expected. Use, hey, 23% of women in industry. I'll say, I went to engineering school over 30 years ago. Hey, there was 20% women in engineering school back then. And we're not much higher if we're only at 23% 30 plus years later.
Yeah.
So still a lot of work to be done. But I will say, I just recently attended, Lockheed Martin has an annual women's women's forum that we bring together all the women in Lockheed Martin. And I will say that you've quoted a national statistic probably, but there are 29% of our employees at Lockheed Martin are women and 28% are women executives. But how are we investing in the future? We have a partnership with Girls Inc. and Million Girls Moonshot to demonstrate and to get girls to demonstrate an interest in STEM, making sure that girls have confidence in their STEM abilities and that they choose STEM careers, that their guidance counselors are giving them that option. That wasn't an option that my guidance counselor gave me 30 plus years ago. And then they're also given access to high quality learning experiences, that hands-on experience that Peter and Hallie talked about. It's not just kind of the book smart, it's the hands-on experience. And then give them mentors that they see, hey, yes, I'm not the first one to do this. So getting those experiences is what's key. So making investments, we're mentoring and trying to grow resource groups.
And I think you're doing a hell of a lot, it sounds like, excuse my language. And it sounds like, I know you said we could do more. We can always do more. And I think just even having these conversations today is exactly that. It's creating that awareness, creating that education, creating that understanding. Haley, I'd love to hear your perspective as well on
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. So I think all of the things that Lockheed Martin is doing to make an initiative forward to really support women in tech is so crucial. I also think that it's important to have someone like me in my role really be able to show women in tech that you can be strong and fearless and bold in what it is that you're doing and still love tech. I think tech gets a lot of, you got to be nerdy. But at the end of the day, you can be highly intelligent. You can still be a boss. You can still be beautiful. You can still be all of the things that you want to be in this role and still be a high level cybersecurity engineer, analyst, compliance analyst, whatever it is that you want to be. I think a lot of times, especially for my age group, the millennials, we're caught up in the hype of the social media, the TikTok, all these different things. So it's not necessarily cool to be in tech. It's what tech, you make money. Tech is the future. So do you want to be caught up on the likes and the social media and the status, or do you actually want to be able to create an impact? So I think really having leaders like Tish in their role, who are especially in management, really being able to be that mentorship to women who want to step out and be in these types of careers, it's so crucial. And the things that they're doing to pour back into the community is going to continue to help it grow. And then I just hope that I'm able to help align with that mission and really show women that you can be empowered. You still can be yourself. You can still do whatever it is that you want to do and still be in tech. It's important.
That was a mic drop statement. I love that. Now, usually I'd go around the room, but I'm conscious we've got about 4 minutes. I know that there were questions from the audience. I'm not going to be today. We're going to have to do a part 2, it feels like, because there's so many questions coming in. I've loved the chat, and I've still got a couple that I really want to get through. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to move into these final questions, and I'm not asking you to put a time, but I kind of a little bit from a management of time perspective. So I'm going to ask Tish and Hayley this, and what are the challenges of recruiting top talent for cybersecurity roles, and how can companies overcome them and build strong teams?
Sure, Dan. I think, that I talked about talent shortfalls. Got to attract new talent. We've also got to, there's two parts to the problem, but we've also got to retain the talent that we have. So going to start on the retention piece first to say, hey, as industries, what are we doing to retain our talent that we have? This is where we're constantly looking at pay and compensation. We're constantly looking at benefits and perks. We're constantly looking at how do we differentiate ourselves from the competition. And we're also looking at how can we be creative in offering to train the existing employees that we have. We talked about upskilling our talent that we have. Maybe the skills that they have don't apply, but we know they have an ability to solve hard problems. So if I just give them a little bit of training while at work, then they can do another job. So first and foremost, how do we retain the talent that we have? And then from an attraction perspective, it's getting ourselves out there to, in general, to attract new talent from our corporation. And I say that from the perspective of doing things to encourage STEM in schools, getting more younger students into this. It was Haley says, being an engineer is a nerd or a geek. It is fun, encouraging things. Like I said, we just hosted a Cyber Quest in March, and we're going to host a Code Quest in April, just last week. And getting more, we've got to grow the number of students and employees in this engineering cybersecurity space.
I love it.
So great.
Okay, we will answer the question just so I've just had this pop up. So just like, I know everyone thought I was looking upstairs. I've just had it pop up say, we will answer questions after this, but after the event, because we're on our last minute. And I'm going to ask a couple of really questions that I would want 1-line, 2-line answers if possible. First question is for you, Peter and Tish. If there was only one thing you hope the people in the audience learn to do as a result of our conversation today, what would it be?
The one thing is that I'd leave with the audience is, hey, at Lockheed Martin, we've got over my cyber and intelligence business, we've got over 100 open positions in cyber, and within Lockheed Martin corporate wise, we've got over 1,000 open positions, cyber positions.
That's it. That's enough. Oh, wow. Okay. There's enough for all of you. That's amazing. Thank you, Tish. Peter.
I think the one thing I would, because it's never too late to learn. Age does not matter in this field. You can take someone who's 24 managing someone who's 25 or 35. So it's who wants it more. And the more hungry you are, the more you can get after it, the more you'll progress and grow into an organization like Lockheed or any other defense contractors. So opportunity is there. It's available for you. And you just have to step out and take that first step. And you'll be surprised how many people will actually support you.
Amazing. Love it. And the final thing, call for courage for everyone in the room. If there was one action you'd like your audience to take after our conversation, what would it be?
I'll start.
All of you.
I'll start, Danny. I'd say get involved. Work within our field requires more than just the office time. Volunteer with your schools, K through 12, to instill a passion and interest in cyber in our next generations. geeks and nerds. We're the cool guys, guys and gals. Work with your schools to help your
Damn
teachers.
right.
Yeah, help your teachers shape their curriculum and teach it. Push back our desires and needs to those teachers. Let them know what we do and how that they can help their students best to be prepared for the next step. And then mentor and network. Mentor as many students as you can. Make it personal. Make it a big deal. Make them feel. So now I'll pass it over to Peter.
Thanks, Trish. I would just add to that. The mentorship is huge. And like I said earlier, it comes in so many forms and fashions, but the biggest thing is make yourself available, because as a mentor, of course, there's a lot of people who want information, and you really have to figure out what each individual is looking for, because they're all different. Secondly, though, as the individual, get involved with ISC Square, ISACA, other organizations that house technical people that can help pull you up. Because again, as the water table rises, so do all the boats, right? So you want to be one of those boats that rise as the water goes up. And that's where you get it from mentorship.
And Haley, do you want to finish us off with the
Absolutely.
last line?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love what Tish and Peter said. And what I'm going to plug is that each of you on this call better connect with all four of us who are speaking right now, because each of us have overlapping networks, but we also have different networks. So this is really your opportunity. Peter and Tish both spoke about mentorship being crucial. Your next mentor might be in our network. All right. Your next opportunity might be at Lockheed Martin. So we need you all to be able to connect with us, reach out to us, let us know who you are so that we can connect back and really be able to build that relationship so that you can be successful moving forward.
Thank you to our wonderful panelists. I'm so grateful for all of you for your open, honest, and enlightening conversation. Thank you, team. Have a lovely rest of your week, everyone, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.